Hi, I'm Mary Miles, the president of the Hellenic Film Society, and I'm joined by my colleague Jimmy Demetro. We have the pleasure of speaking with Yorgos Tsemberopoulos today. Mr. Tsemberopoulos is from Athens, where he attended university and studied economics while being a still photographer. He then attended AFI in Los Angeles to study film, where he lived for 8 years. He returned to Greece and founded Filmiki Productions. He's the president of the board of the Hellenic Film Academy, and his films include Megara, which is Greece's first ecological documentary, winning the Fipreski Prize at the Berlin Film Festival, and Best Production Award at the Thessaloniki Film Festival, The Enemy Within, Backdoor, Adeya, and Xafnikos Erotas.
Mr. Tsemberopoulos, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to meet you and to have this opportunity to talk about your latest film, which is an amazing success. YPARHO is the Greek title. It's being released in the United States and elsewhere around the world under the title of Stelios. I know your career spans some 50 years, if I'm not mistaken. And to have this kind of success at this point, I can only imagine how gratifying it must be. And we heartily congratulate you on a job well done. The film is so enjoyable, so entertaining to watch. And I know that audiences all over the world are responding to it. Would you tell us a little bit about how you became involved in the project?
I am glad that I'm speaking with people who have seen not only this film, but have seen also at least the two previous films of mine, The Enemy Within, which was shown in your organization, and yes. That was very pleasing for me. YPARHO came into my life when the phone rang 3 years ago, and Dionysis Samiotis, the producer, the main producer, chief producer of Tanwi Productions, asked me, Kazantzidi Kanis, would you do a film on Kazantzidis? And I said, of course, yes, if we have a good script. And there was a good script. Katerina Bey had already worked with Dionysis Samiotis before they came to me. And they had the first draft of a script that was pretty much where the script is now, that the film is finished. Meaning it had the same beginning in the lifetime of young Stelios when he was 13, and the ending where it ends now. I don't want to do spoilers for people who haven't seen it, but we're following Kazantzidis in the first part of his life, the best part of his life, where he had tremendous successes. And before he started being sore with the industry and with several other things that he hated, we follow him at his prime. So the film was, professionally speaking, was a commission. I was commissioned to direct it, but I was very, very lucky to have a very good understanding with the writer and the creative producer, Dionysis Samiotis and Katerina Bey. And we were all in a big torment whether we will find somebody good enough to portray Stelios Kazantzidis with whom, you know, there are people who have a tremendous love and admiration, and they have him up, you know, as God, and who would be the person to portray him. We said from the beginning that, okay, we'll do the casting, and if we're not satisfied, we don't find the right person, we will not do the film. So that's how we began.
Well, you know, I remember, obviously, eventually you chose Christos Mastoras to play Stelios Kazantzidis. And I remember reading when the casting was first announced that, this was the wrong choice, that he's not an actor, he's a singer, he shouldn't be doing this. And yet when you see the film, you see how marvelous he is. He's absolutely just wonderful, not only as a singer, but as an actor. So that was a wonderful, wonderful choice.
We were very lucky with this boy. I mean, I call him a boy. He's 38 years old, but he's a remarkable person. And he had two things in his life that he was absolutely no actor. He had not ever acted before.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that. He's so good in this. It's hard to believe.
Yeah, he worked a lot with me, but he's very sharp and he's emotionally sharp also. And he's in connection. His brain and his heart are instantly connected. He's very quick and very, very hardworking. But he began. He already had one element that is very important. Two elements that are very important for the character. First, he was coming from a refugee family, because his family was born and lived, and his grandparents and his great-grandparents from both sides of his parents, they were in Albania, what we call Voria Epirus, the northern Epirus. So they were Greeks of Albania. And so they knew that part of the character, they were carrying in his family, they were carrying the Kazantzidis values. And actually, it's not the Kazantzidis values, it's the values that of traditional Greece at the time. And the second thing is that although he was only 38, 37 when we met, Christos Mastoras was already extremely famous. He had the same problems that Kazantzidis had, in the sense that, he had thousands of followers. He's recognized in the streets. He cannot have a private life. And so we had two. Now the question is, can he act?
Yes.
He can
Well,
sing, but
it
can
turned
he
out he
act?
can.
Fortunately for everyone, he did a good job.
Obviously,
Yeah.
you're working with people who are at the top of their profession, Samiotis and Katerina Bey, and Mastoras as a singer. Did you foresee? I think to some extent you probably all felt that the film would be a success, but did you foresee the immense success the film eventually had? Were you surprised by that? Did you, on some level, expect it?
We're three different people coming from three different fields. So I don't know about the others, but I did not expect this
You didn't.
kind of miracle that happened, because a miracle happened. What has happened is the magic of film and the magic of laika τραγούδια, of popular or folk Greek songs, the best we have. The magic of both arts, combined, were, and through Christos Mastoras, we succeeded something that nobody expected. This thing to have full houses, 900,000 people in full houses applauding in the theaters and expecting us, to jump off the screen and bow, like as if the audience thought that they were in a theater.
Very exciting, very, very exciting.
And people singing, and the main thing that was not expected, that it was going to be so successful, was with a very young generation and the old generation. This issue, this fact rather, that in the theaters there were grandchildren with grandparents together, all ages, meaning being equally moved for different reasons, is something.
But that's a testament to the appeal of the subject matter and the film itself. That's when I believe I read that this is the fourth highest grossing Greek film in history, and probably that's a record that it will break eventually, because I'm sure as it comes out of Greece and now plays all over the world, the grosses will be skyrocketing. It's very, very exciting, very exciting.
Well, it depends on how you count. One counts, because the other three films in the list above Stelios, YPARHO, are numbers that were achieved before COVID.
Yeah, of course.
Before Netflix.
It's a big difference, indeed.
Before
indeed.
platforms.
Yeah, a very big difference.
If you translate this, we're definitely first and above everything else,
Right. Absolutely.
compared.
Absolutely. That's terrific. I'm just curious, Yorgo, did you ever meet Kazantzidis in your life, or Katie Gray, who died just relatively recently at the age of 100? Did you know, or Marinella for that matter, did you meet with Marinella or Katie Gray about the film?
Many, many years ago, I had met Marinella, not for professional reasons, in a group of people that we were entertained one evening at her.
We should explain that Marinella was married to Kazantzidis at one point in her life. Yeah.
Yes, and there are two characters of in the film. Their professional and personal life are one of the subjects, one of the things we follow in the film. No, I did not know them, and when I was embarked on the project, I did not want to meet them.
Oh, interesting. I see.
I did not want to meet anybody because everybody alive was speaking about Stelios Kazantzidis in his old age. And I was not interested in his old age. I was interested in his young age. And all those people did not know him, with the exception of Marinella and Katie Gray. They knew him. But their relationship was, as we knew from the tabloids, the lives of these people have been, like everywhere, infested by the horrible myths that the tabloids are. Tabloids is the name of the low-class newspapers, right?
Yes.
And the TV, morning TV, TV emissions that people thought that they knew everything about Kazantzidis, but nobody knew anything about him when he was young, when he was a boy. And that was what was our interest. I did not want to hear, what Kazantzidis was doing at 60. I wanted to know what Kazantzidis was doing at 16, 17, 18, 20, 24, 26, 29. When he was 30, he had reached the highest level and he quit. He quit his career at 35. But the television came a lot later,
Let me ask you this. When you're working on a biopic, this particular biopic, did you try to focus on getting the people right? I think there's an extra challenge with getting the music right. So let's talk about the characters first, and then we'll talk about the music. But did you focus on the spirit? How did it differ from doing a pure narrative film that's scripted, completely fictional, made up characters where you can take them anywhere you want? How is it different in how you directed this film? The fact that they were living and there's proof and plenty of footage out there of these people.
For me, it was when I was trying to figure out how I will be working with it. I relaxed completely when I decided that I looked down on my desk and I saw a script, 120 pages, scene 1, 2, 3, until the end. And it's a script. So here's a character whose name is Stelios. He's a young boy. What would you do if it were a regular film? Your question is more addressed to Katerina Bay writing the script. But of course, when I came in the project, male, Katerina being female, a male energy came in and I had male questions, why this and why that and why the other. And she was answering and we worked fantastically together. We combined very well. And by the time we finished the rewrite of the script, which was version 17, after 17 versions, I knew the Stelios we have in the film. And in the film, as you know, it's one character, but he has two characteristics. One is who Stelios is, and the other one is who Kazantzidis is. Stelios being the real person, and Kazantzidis being the person that exists in the minds and the hearts of other people, So if Kazantzidis is the professional name, Stelios is the private name. And, Stelios, we had to deal with this issue that he was revolting, that nobody would understand Stelios. And everybody expected everything from Kazantzidis.
I think it's interesting then, you're really not trying for impersonations. I think you saw these people as completely fresh, to be interpreted as you saw was appropriate. And I think that helps the film. It works in the film's favor, that you're not trying to impersonate these characters. You're trying to present people in a fresh way, people who were known widely by the public in a fresh way. It's very interesting. Can you tell us, Yorgos, in making the film, did you discover things about him that the general public never imagined or never knew?
I was my first audience, in the sense that I was beginning with reading and working on the script. I was discovering constantly things that are common with me, something I did not expect. I have in different percentages. I also have this need to get out of here and be part of nature. I don't fish. Trees and olive oil. And it is the same again, escaping from everything and spending some time in nature, some productive time in nature, something that is very important and puts things in. So I was finding things like that. As you already said in your preface, that my first film that I did when I was 23 years old, Megara, was the first ecological film, and Kazantzidis was, to my great surprise, something that we're not dealing in the film with, but I liked him for that. He had the ecological mind. He was all for nature. He was protecting, he would never fish very small fish. He was becoming furious if somebody, was uprooting a tree for no reason. And also he had a code, what we say, I 10 εντολές. He had how you say, the 10 commandments.
Yes, Ten Commandments.
His own personal 10 commandments, according to his later friends, some of them, they said, no, he did not have only 10 commandments, he had 20. Some others say, no, he only had 10, which were, if you're okay, if something is okay, or it wasn't, he had his own code of ethics. And what I did not relate with him is that he was getting τάπερνε, που λέμε, he was getting completely upset, and he was becoming unbalanced when he did not like something. While I'm trying to deal with something I don't like, to deal with it and influence it, but he didn't have this patience. And that forced me to to have a very good and strong and fast pace in the storytelling of that film. He would, the way he would change and go from one thing to the other, he would do that very fast. And that gave the film a pace.
You cover a lot, but it's very crisp, it's very fast. You never have a lull. As a viewer, you're constantly going, oh wow, yes. And you allow moments to breathe, but you go to the next. And we definitely get the volatility of the character as well, and his enormous love, and all. You cover a character so well. Now, when you're directing someone who's never acted before, but he performs in his own different way, so performing was part of his life. Christos specifically, I'm speaking about. What was the biggest challenge that you had in teaching someone who is not an actor to be an actor? It was the master class of acting.
Many months of working with a character, explaining, but with words. I was saying words and words. And God knows if this, goes through, or as we know very well with youngsters, if a film director is a teacher and this would-be actor is a pupil, we know very well that pupils, they hear, it comes from one ear and goes out of the other ear. So I did not know all this talking about the period and about being poor, that it doesn't matter, that, being all the issues of the ethics of the period that nobody understands today, all that thing, was it just blah, 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 or would it be fruitful? I did not know the answer until we went into shooting. What trained Christos very much was that he came in, as I said before, he's very hardworking. He stopped everything else, and he was coming in all the casting sessions I had with all the other actors. In order to cast all the other parts, not only the main parts, all the parts that he had scenes with, I had to see 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 actors for each part. And from these actors, 4 or 5 for each part would come and read for me. So Christos was coming to read with them. So he saw how other actors were trying to sense who was I and who was the character I was searching for in them. And as I said, he's very sharp and quick, and he was picking up. He had, from the very beginning, he had the delivery. He had very good delivery, very good timing. He was pam pam like a metronome. He had that from music. He knew that, you can't just, start thinking while acting. You have to do it at the same time. Biggest problem was whether a musician would concentrate all these months, all this meticulous work, little by little and little by little, but every day, every day, every day on the same subject. They work very much, and then 2 weeks later they have a concert, and that's it. We work months and months, and also the work was, in his case, was the aging process, that he had to suffer all these masks and all these things that we added and we put to make the additional little pieces of hair, that we added here and there to make him look older, because he goes from 20 to 47 in reality in the boat. It was a great test before the patience one needs to have in the shooting. Patience is the issue. Musicians, I don't know if they have patience. They're up there for 4 hours, 3 hours, 2 hours in a show. They give it all, and then they can go and die for a week someplace. But in film, you give your 100% for 3 months in a row, and 6 more months of rehearsals before. It's too much for many people if you're not an actor. But Christos was becoming better and better and more close to that.
Probably much too modest to say this, but clearly you are a seasoned director. Throughout the film, you're in firm control of the material. You keep things moving. And Mastoras was very, very lucky to make his debut under your directorial guidance. Clearly, this is a co-working a combination that worked beautifully, and it's to your credit. I think we have to say that. You're much too modest to admit it, but I'm saying it.
No, I admit it, but it takes too many people to tango in order to do a film. It's so this whole orchestration has to do. The secret is if you know what you're doing.
Yes, exactly.
And if you don't know what you're doing, you don't show it.
Well, fortunately for everyone, you excel at knowing what you're doing. And you were the quarterback, the captain of the ship. We'll go with the captain of the ship for this particular matter. And you orchestrated it beautifully. You have these actors trained so well. It's incredible. It's incredible. The pace of the film is so enjoyable. It takes you on a great emotional ride, and it's all really due to your creative vision and direction.
Don't say I'm modest again, but there's some things have a star. This project had a star. From the very beginning. This project was. We realized that later. I did not feel it like this while working. While working, we had a million problems a day. A million problems altogether anyway. That somehow they were solved. Somehow they didn't matter, and many of the problems that we had turned into, thank God we had that problem, because when it was solved, it was much better.
Much better. Yeah.
We were very lucky to have this script and this interest in that film at the age of Christos Mastoras, Christos Mastoras having this age, because 10 years ago, he wouldn't be in it.
Right.
10 years later, he wouldn't be in it. It's only now that it could happen. We were very lucky to find 3 brothers that played. 2 of them played Stelios Kazantzidis in his childhood, in his puberty and his childhood age, and we found these 2 brothers that look alike, Christos and Stelios. And who would expect that to have, but everything was lucky. But I want to, before we move on to a different subject, I would like to mention my one person whose talent and dedication is very important for the success of the film is Yannis Drakularakos, the lighting cameraman, the DP. That he and his assistant Elena Anagnostopoulou, who was holding the camera, she was the two of them, were very quick, very fast, and very sharp, and very intuitive with anything that was going wrong. They were covering up in a very good way. We complemented. We were very lucky. I don't want to start mentioning all the names because nobody will remember all these last names. We're all grateful to each other. We worked
That's
well.
for a job well done. Exactly. Very, very nice.
Extraordinary. Thank you for your time. We know
you.
that all of Greece has enjoyed Stelios and YPARHO, and the rest of the world, we're waiting. It's opening May 9th throughout the US, and we can't wait to go see it. Thank you
Me
so
too.
much.
I'm expecting to read some reviews, I hope.
Well, let's see. The ultimate review is the public response, and we know that's going to be considerable. Yorgos, thank you very much for your time, and
Thank you.
again, best of luck in the future. I know you act, you direct, you're into a lot of different things, and we wish you many happy years of productivity, and keep up the good work, and let's see more. Let's see more of films of the quality of Stelios.
And
Thank you
too.
Thank you very much.
You too. Continue offering.
Well, we're trying. We're trying.
Okay.
Thanks, Yorgos. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Mary.
If you enjoyed our conversation and would like to learn more about the Hellenic Film Society and Greek films, please go to our website at www.hellenicfilmusa.org.